apparently something happened in Japan, of course, you know. It's called blackface. Blackface in Japan. Cultural differences or misunderstanding. So apparently something happened, you know. I just say, hey, Google, and then it does everything for me. Ah, okay, I see. I never really used it. I think I've just only used like ChatGPT for like the normal aspect of things. That's kind of like basically it. I don't really go beyond like the standard of things personally. I just kind of like, you know, I just kind of like do the normal stuff in general. So I think it's cultural misinformation, and you're probably correct at the end of the day.
So today I want to talk about a little sensitive topic. Recently, Japanese cosplayer cosplayed this. It's Avdol from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So it has 20 million views, meaning it went to pretty controversial. And of course, from overseas, this cosplayer was criticized, but
the Western side of society is getting mad because this guy cosplayed a JoJo character. I would assume it's a JoJo character.
Japanese people are pretty chill. And also a Japanese YouTuber who has African background is talking about this. And he's saying he's not offended, but he's more pissed about foreigners criticizing Japanese culture.
変な感じでね、文化が壊されるとかっていうのはね、僕は嫌ですから。
So today I want to ask this question. Why this situation is very different from America and Japan? And
okay, look. It's not, the problem is that there are a bunch of stupid people or so. I'm gonna be honest with you, Shuhei. I understand that Shuhei doesn't understand, but like the Western audiences, you want to know something? This became I don't know when this became a thing. I don't know when or how, because in the past we had no problem. People did blackface all the time in the past, okay? All right, there was this one cosplayer, this one white guy or so, who cosplayed as Michael Jackson every single year. And then, you know, there was just no problem at all. The funny thing about it, it was in the ghetto too as well. So no one had a problem with it. Nobody had a problem with this. I don't know where this started. I'm going to be honest with you. Honestly, I don't think anything has changed over here, at least not to my personal opinion. But I honestly have no idea why people are just getting upset. Comedians used to do this all the time too as well. Like comedians were a thing as well. Even you had what is it, that one YouTuber or so who like instead of blackfacing, he white-faced himself. So, but no one batted an eye towards that, to be honest, you know?
So, does Japan need to follow American standard?
No.
Okay, so let me explain what happened. His name is Matsuken, and he did this in a Comic-Con. What's this?
Damn, that's a cool
Comic-Con
cosplay.
Oh.
Cosplay.
Okay, let's go back to, yes, he did this. And look what he's doing.
Dude, he looks fucking good. What the hell? Yo, the cosplay looks fucking great, to be honest. I ain't gonna lie, you pulled it off pretty well.
It's super accurate, but of course, some people think it's blackface. No one should be painting their skin color to match character of the different race because it's racist. Unless the character is like blue or something, that is obvious fine.
No.
If you're gonna cosplay a character who has darker skin, do not paint your face darker. It's better to go to naturally. It's called blackface and it's racist.
No, it's not. It's not racist. Okay? Stop it. Stop it. You guys came up with this weird ideology for this dumb like racist ideology thing, you know? I feel like the people who say like this is racist, maybe you're racist for thinking that way, in my personal opinion.
By the way, cosplay is costume play. It's a Japanese English. But you know, I get that. I really get that. Blackface was originally aimed to mock black people in America. And yes, I aware there's a group of people who still suffering the racism and feeling fear. I get that. But Japan has different
facts. Everyone is technically racist. It's only racist if you're doing it in a demeaning way. This cosplayer is cosplaying an actual character. That's the thing too as well, you know. Remember that black cosplayer is that self-deleted because of the hate she got from cosplaying characters, and she did not do white or Asian face. I think some anime fans or toxic people have taken accurately way too far. I noticed in the AC Shadows, and now it has spread its other things, in my opinion. That is true, because we did have that cosplayer unfortunately passed away, which is very saddening in my personal opinion, because I thought she really did some really good, amazing cosplay, in my personal opinion. She was harassed and bullied herself because, you know, she was dark-skinned who wanted to cosplay characters that she actually liked, but she didn't paint herself white. She didn't she didn't, she didn't make herself Asian or anything like that, she just liked the character. It's kind of funnier, so that they're supposed to be like, these people are supposed to say they're so inclusive, they have this like very inclusive mind, but then at the end of the day, they're like the most racist people you'll ever meet. Like, they're worse than fucking like actual racist people. Sounds racist with me in the VC when no one is watching.
Story, because it's a different country, right? Japan didn't have transatlantic slavery, and we didn't have minstrel show, and Japan never developed blackface as mocking stuff. I mean, the mocking tradition. I mean, I'm not saying Japan has no racism.
Of course.
Racism is everywhere, but the symbol of blackface didn't develop the same way as America in Japan. In Japan, when I was kids, there was a ghetto culture. So I grew up seeing a lot of older teenager was having darker skin is kind of cool things. And early 2000, when I was a junior high and high school, that was huge trend of R&B and hip hop.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people who wanted to be black, not gonna lie. And I was kind of wearing that kind of stuff. I've never had dread hair though. And it's very different. Cosplay in Japan, accuracy, and also the idea and respecting the character is very important.
Exactly.
Done yourself. Done who you are. So
that's the reason why I wanted, when the first time I ever cosplay, so I want to respect the character because I like the character and I want to do it as like the best I can to its teeth,
To me, painting black, respecting the character, trying to be a character, is pretty much acceptable, my opinion. I mean, as a Japanese.
Of course.
In many cases, the intention is visual representation, not the parody. Different history creates different meaning behind. Okay, so now let's talk about Japanese guy YouTubers. He was actually kind of big voice about Assassin's Creed Shadows. He was also against Assassin's Creed Shadows when it came out. His name is Bix. Let's watch his video.
It's become a regular topic of conversation recently. Yes, it's a topic about the skin color of anime characters. The gist of it is that when a masked cosplayer who cosplayed as Abel at the recent Comic-Con posted a photo on X, he was attacked by some strange people overseas who were cosplayers. This kind of thing happens so regularly that I'm used to it. It's the usual thing. It's called blackface, right? Yeah, it's really funny. Well, if it's meant to make fun of black people, then I don't like it, and I think it's discriminatory.
Yeah, of course.
But if it's just meant to make fun of black people without that intention, then I'm like, what? Are black people taboo? What is it?
I believe like we are living like somewhere between, right? So there's a black people like him who get really
I'm gonna be honest with you. I hate this Western ideology where like their ideology has to spread into other people's culture. Like it's like they're trying to implant their ideology, their perspective, their way of thought and everything into like Hispanic culture, into Asian culture, into whatever other shit they can get their grubby little hands on. And just think, and they want them to think, and like they want them to think in their perspective. They want them to do like just everything in like Western ideology. They want them specifically to be that way. They're trying to hijack the culture to use for this exactly. And I'm like, brother, honestly, we don't care. Like even us Hispanic people, we have some very fucking crazy as like out of pocket jokes, Honestly, we even had like a comedy show where a comedy movie or so where literally a famous actor comedian was basically like showing the swastika or so to a vampire because the vampire said, "Oh, my ancestors were Jewish," and then he's like, he's like, "Oh yeah, well then," and then he started like, I'm like, it's funny, dude. It's just fucking hilarious. Honestly, these weird people who are like, honestly, like, there are things or so where I wish the internet was not invented for these kinds of people. I wish the internet was away from these people, because honestly, no one wants to listen to those kinds of people. I'm gonna be honest with you. Those kinds of people who want to tell other people what to do, what to think, how to speak, how to act, it's tiring or so. Nobody wants to walk on eggshells. Like, who the fuck wants to walk on eggshells all the damn time? Just come on, man. It's not that serious. It's not that deep. Everyone's having a fun time. Everyone's having a joke and everything. And then you just have these like random people who just come out of nowhere. So get like randomly offended, and then they just try to like take control over other people the way how they are.
frustrated about what's going on now. But on the other hand, there's a people who feel really insecure.
Well, that's enough of the usual stuff, but I have one more thing I want to say this time. You guys are always complaining, but you're the ones who change the character's skin color on your own.
Right. And also, this is a very important part of this video.
In Japan, it's common sense that people express themselves for the sake of characters in secondary illustrations and cosplay because they like them.
Yeah.
However, people who approach things this way, while they do like the work, have a sense of self that they want to be cool, and the work is just one way to color that self. The main thing is whether it's themselves or the work. In Japan, people like the work, so they adapt themselves to it. That's why they write. However, overseas, the work and themselves are more important, so they
Oh, it's like a wrong translation. What he's saying is that in overseas, cosplayers think themselves are more important than work. Themselves are more important than anime. That's what he's saying.
change the work to suit their own self. The difference in values there is
Honestly, this here, this annoys me right here, where they like completely racial swap or so the characters. This is probably the most dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm like, just make your own character, you know? At the end of the day, I just feel like these people are not actual artists at the end of the day.
difference in values there is quite significant.
So he's saying Japanese cosplayer tend to focus the work rather than ourselves.
Yeah.
But the Western cosplayer was focusing themselves.
Yeah.
I kind of agree because I know some cosplayers friends. Japanese cosplayer really respect the character. So it's almost like a zen, meaning no
You're paying
ego
homage,
inside.
you know?
I mean, Japanese cosplayer follow that character instead of expressing themselves. That makes sense?
Well, I'm not saying that all people overseas are like this.
Yeah, of course.
But there are quite a few people like that.
It's the
Foreigners
vocal
who get mad
minority.
about this kind of thing may not understand why people prioritize manga over themselves. But if I were to say something to those people, it would be that for Japanese otaku, anime and manga are religion. They live their lives teaching happiness through anime and manga as their #1 priority.
Of course.
When expressing anime and manga, which are objects of faith, it's standard for Japanese people to try to express themselves in their own way while
And I'm just letting you know, chat. One of the characters that I want to cosplay very badly is Yoroichi. So one day I'll do a Yoroichi cosplay.
respecting the original as much as possible.
That's the key. Respect. It's Japanese culture. We need respect.
Right. Any number of people can play any character. However, the Japanese stance is to try to make it as close to the character's race and characteristics as possible.
I love Yoroichi as a
On
character.
the other hand, when it comes to handling any character, people feel a strong sense of pride when they try to change its attributes to suit their own convenience. They don't understand that stance. It is the greatest respect for Japanese people to change their appearance and play characters of a different race. Saying that it's good to keep it as it is shows a lack of awareness of respecting the cultures of other countries. You know, this kind of thing will probably happen a lot in the future.
Of course.
Yeah, and if I bring it up, well,
the only way for this ideology to die completely, I'm gonna be honest with you, the people who are just getting mad at this for no apparent reason, do not reproduce. That's all I gotta say. As long as they don't make offsprings and brainwash their offsprings to think like this ideology will die with them. That's all I gotta say, okay? I will leave it at that.
I know what I'm saying will overlap, but if I don't bring it up, it'll feel weird and the culture will be destroyed, and I don't like that.
I mean, I made a video that Finnish politicians doing the slanted eyes to mock Asian. Yeah, to mock or like a comedy context, that's kind of rude. But if it is a cosplay, if they wanna do something very thin eyes character and they tape it, I don't get offended because it's respecting the character. Okay, here's my question. It's not only about skin color issue, but recently I see a lot of people is talking about Japan, and then I really need to say this.
Okay.
If countries have different histories, should they all be judged by the standard rule? I mean, the same standard?
No.
Should American history trauma should apply to Japanese history?
No, look, I understand it specifically, don't the problem is like these vocal minorities are the people on Twitter, online, in Reddits, in their little echo chambers that literally like to spew the same shit over and over again. But I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of the normal people, right, outside of those spheres do not think the way they do. It's just the problem is they're just people who like have this weird ideology to think that it's racist. But I'm gonna be honest with you, those people are actually truly racist, because if that's what they're thinking, that means there's something wrong with them at the end of the day. That is also another thing too. They are pretty much tourist or so, because they're pretty much not really like engrossed with the culture, especially for those who attack the, you know, the lolly community. I just don't understand the reasoning. Why would you want to attack the lolly community? They literally don't do anything at the end of the day. They're just loud, and the internet helps them bunch together. It's just the problem is like these people, like the worst part about it, like these companies, these like other people like bend the knee to these people, but these people don't even buy their products, don't even do shit, don't support them, nothing. They don't do shit. Honestly, this like weird way or so for them to like kind of like, I guess you could say it is like bending the knee to these people, but they don't even like associate with any of the stuff that like these other companies and whatever other like etc. You just fill in the blank or so, right? That they even do. Yeah.
And if Japanese who has African background is raising a voice, should their voice be ignored?
No.
Who gets to decide what's offensive? People living.
If you think it's offensive, there's a thing called the block button, and you move on. That's it. There was a thing or so, like if you didn't like something or didn't like hearing anything, you just kind of like block it, and then you just kind of move on, and that's it. That's why the block button was invented, for a reason. If you find it offensive. God, people on the internet sure are something, to be honest.
In Japan, or people who see it through on their history. So it's been one of the biggest theme of my channel since Assassin's Creed Shadows. I believe the true idea of globalism, global conversation shouldn't be who is louder, right?
Yes.
But about learning from differences and developing. So this video is not just defending my Japanese cosplayer, but and also not attacking people who criticizing this. I just wanted to share that different perspective and history.
And
maybe it's not just this, like anything about the conflict between Japan and then the Japanese perspective, Western perspective, especially skin color issue. I really think this main point is not just about makeup or the idea of cosplay, how Japanese cosplay or how Westerners cosplay, but also how quickly we stop listening to each other.
Yep.
All right, thank you for watching.
It's not just like listening to each other. It's like the Western just has the more annoying. It's the most annoying ideology and the most annoying voices that are speaking the most, unfortunately. Like, it's not everybody in the Western side of the community, right? Like I said, there's always a saying, right? If it does not apply, you let it fly, okay? But if you're getting butthurt of what I'm saying or so, that means it is applying to you. So that's all I gotta say. Honestly, it's like I said, right? It's just these like weird mindsets. It's just these people on Twitter that literally just have nothing in their life. They're always miserable all the time. They're, as what Asmin Gold, always fat. That's why they always hide behind anime profile pictures, you know? And they just can't accomplish anything in life without bitching and complaining. That's pretty much about it, you know? I'm like, if you want to change yourself, you know, you gotta do the work. That's all I gotta say, you know? Honestly, at the end of the day, it's just these people that are just miserable in their life just because they didn't get it their way, you know? Bro, flaunt the Japan PM, bro, going to get flamed. Fat, extreme hair, alternative hair color, and septum ring. The three deadly combinations. That is very true. That's just the one thing. That's just it. It's just ignore them. They're literally not the vocal minority when it comes to like the Western ideology. I've met some Western people that are just fine. They're normal. They have no problems whatsoever. The problem is just those annoying people. Even then, the Jim Crow stuff is very specific. It's not just blackface, it's super blackface with the red lips and, of course, the mockery. If there's any combo of it, that's when you raise an eyebrow, especially the mockery. If it's just blackface and it just looks like the character, let it slide in my opinion. It's mainly for the fans community, whether they are tourist or hardcore people that are harsh if you're not accurate or deny cosplays depending on your skin tone. I'm saying I don't give a fuck about the Western. Yeah, no other specific cultures, Hispanic cultures, Asian cultures, Indian cultures, or whatever other specific insert whatever other culture in here shouldn't really hear out what the actual freaking Western ideology have to hear, okay? Especially if it sounds ridiculous, because it sounds like they're trying to inject their ideology, their perspectives, their this, their that into those cultures, and we're just like, we don't give a fuck, because we're not raised from your side of the planet. We're raised in our background, in our culture, not yours, okay? Stop injecting your shit, your perspective and your crap into our shit, okay? You got yours and we got ours, okay? What you find offensive, we find it funny. That's just how it is. I don't know. That's honestly, that's how I personally see it. I usually, like, yes, I've had white friends and everything like that, but never in my entire life did they ever inject their ideology into my culture. This is called to arms, to gatekeep. Over the years, I started to gatekeep more. The problem is like, look, I think I still want the community to flourish, but like I want it to flourish in the right way. The problem is that these people are coming into this space thinking they know what's right and what's wrong. But at the end of the day, they don't know jack shit, and those people are the ones you have to like keep them away from this medium, because those are the kinds of people I'd rather not have in the community, instead of having the other people who are more open-minded, who want to see, who understand and everything, you know. I have no problem at the end of the day. As an African, I can tell you we don't give a shit about blackface. Tell that to Twitter. They'll probably call you're probably white and you're probably racist and you're a bigot. That's probably what they're gonna call you, Wasabi. Okay, let's not beat around the bush here. They probably won't even believe that you're African. Because that's literally how the mindset of these people are at the end of the day. Like, they will not believe you. That's the craziest thing about it. Because you want to know something? People mistake me as white. They think I'm white. They think I sound white. They think I act white. They think I am a racist person because I can pull out a southern country accent, you know? Because they'll be like, oh, you're from the South or so, you're racist and all this other shit. I'm like, I am not even white. It's like, that is the most ridiculous take I will ever hear in my entire life. I am mixed race. Thank you very much. Oh my god, they've been using that word to shield too. Crazy it took speed to show the world Africa is not mainly mud huts. That's how you know these people have never opened a book in their entire life. But yeah. Anyways, honestly, Shuhei, I understand. Like, I know Shuhei doesn't understand specifically why the Western ideology thinks like this. Honestly, I personally don't know where this started. I wish I knew where this started. I assume the comment section will probably let me know, because I usually read the comment sections down below to tell me like where this dumb ideology came from. But honestly, like, for me, prospectively, you know, we just don't find it offensive. Like, they're just paying homage to the character. You know, if he wanted to cosplay the JoJo character at the very beginning, you know, it's like there's nothing wrong with it at the end of the day. Look, what's wrong with this cosplay? There's literally nothing wrong with this cosplay. Like, he just did a really good job with the cosplay in general. So, but hey, you know what? He just likes the JoJo character, you know? So I'm like, just letting you know, I will cosplay Yoruichi in the far future. So that'll happen one day. So, except I'm gonna have to be like super flexible and shit like that. But that'll take some time. But I have been doing stretches though. But anyways, Enough sidetrack anyways, but that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. Shuhei, I understand. Trust me. Don't try to understand these people. These people are just the vocal minority. These are the people who are just miserable 24/7, and they doom scroll on Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and they see these other people who have a more better life than them, and they just kind of hate to hate at the end of the day, you know? Yoruichi cosplay and cat stretch pose. I don't know if I could do that. That's gonna be a little bit more difficult to pull off. That is a lot of yoga and stretching, to be honest. It's like they want us to be racist. Honestly, at the end of the day, I just feel like they're racist. You know, if they think that way prospectively, I just think they're racist. That's all I guess. Because like the first thing that when I see this picture without any context whatsoever, I'd be like, that's a cool cosplay, you know? And that's it, you know? But hey, it is what it is. Anyways, like I said, don't try to understand these people. They're just a vocal minority that likes to be the loudest. All of us normal people think this is just fine, and we think this is a fine cosplay, and there's nothing wrong with it. But yeah, anyways, that's the end of the video. And honestly, internet people who are miserable will always be miserable. Just don't pay any attention to them anyway. So, and peace.